Hey, everybody. This is Jacob Harkey. It is February 18th, 2024, and I wanted to pop on and have a chat to give some updates and just share some thoughts about a few things that have happened over the last few days. So, first off, I want to apologize. I know that I had mentioned in my chat last night that I would be going up to LA this morning to visit DOA. DOA is still being held in jail. Um, that didn't end up happening. I realized once I got home last night that I had actually made plans for this morning to meet up with some classmates to work on a group project. So I was not able to make it during visitation hours today. I am planning to try that again tomorrow. But the other thing that I really wanted to get on here to chat about tonight um, is the report that was done by NBCLA. Um, Yesterday, when I was live streaming in front of La Poubelle, I knew at that point that Cam and Danny had been interviewed because I had seen on Jessica and Confident Chris's live streams. Oh, and Chris Without a Hellcat's live streams from earlier in the day, video of them while they were being interviewed live. What I hadn't seen yesterday was the video of it was the actual report that NBCLA ultimately put out. And I know that a handful of people in my chat yesterday were commenting on uh the well, you were commenting on your thoughts on the video. And I have to say that after watching the report that NBCLA put out, I tend to agree with a lot of the comments that were in my chat last night about the report. But I wanted to actually take a few minutes to go ahead and go through the report and comment on what I think was problematic about the report, why I'm not in agreement with the way that the report was handled. I'll say hi to a few people in the chat. I see some folks have joined. Dustin Fountain says, "Hey, y'all. Hey, Dustin. Thank you for joining." Lexi Evans says, "Hello, Jacob. How are you doing tonight?" I'm doing all right. I'm hanging in there. It's been a wild couple of days. And I'm seeing just me and Rally Sport are both saying that DOA was moved to downtown location. Thank you for letting me know. I'm going to call before I go to LA to even try to get in touch with him during visitation hours to make sure that I am going to the right place. So thank you for including that in there. Lexi Evans says, "Hey, Dustin." All right. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share the tab that contains the video of NBCLA's report. And I'm going to do my best. I'm still fairly new to sharing on StreamYard, so I want to make sure that also share tab audio. All right. You should be able to hear this. If there happen to be any issues with audio, feel free to let me know in the chat. But here we go. So first off, before I even start the video, it's called "Protest Held Outside Hollywood Restaurant Turns Violent." Right off the bat, the way that it's worded that way, without mentioning the fact that protesters were the ones being attacked, I feel that there's already a degree of bias against the protesters just in the title of the video. But let's go ahead and start.
Right now at 5, a Hollywood neighborhood disrupted by protesters. Last night, a clash outside a restaurant turned violent with
I'll go ahead and let that sentence play. I'm gonna back this up again so that we can hear that whole first sentence because I'm frustrated right off the bat, right from the beginning of this video.
Right now at 5, a Hollywood neighborhood disrupted by protesters. Last night, a clash outside a restaurant turned violent with at least one person going to jail.
Anastasia Olmos has been.
I am gonna do what I was starting to do at the beginning and take a few different pieces of what she says at the beginning there.
Right now at 5, a Hollywood neighborhood disrupted by protesters.
Right there, a Hollywood neighborhood disrupted by protesters. The bias is clear right off the bat that the protesters are the ones being painted as the problem. When you say Hollywood neighborhood disrupted by protesters. Okay, let's see what she says right after that.
Last night, a clash outside a restaurant turned violent with at least one person going to jail.
Okay, so a clash turned violent with at least one person going to jail right after saying that the neighborhood has been disrupted by protesters. Already, right off the bat, we haven't heard any additional details beyond that, but it already seems to me, just based on those opening sentences, that the bias is slanted against the protesters. All right, I'm going to go ahead and keep moving. I'm not seeing anything in the chat about audio not working, so I'm hoping that means that you guys can hear. So I'm going to go ahead and keep going.
Our Anastasia Olmos has been digging into this story. She joins us now from the restaurant live outside. Anastasia.
Well, good evening, guys. We do know that these protesters started calling police. The LAPD tells me around 10 o'clock they received at least 5 phone calls to this location in Hollywood off Bronson and Franklin. This group of protesters, anywhere from 10 to 20 people. It's a restaurant here named in a sexual assault case involving celebrity Danny Masterson. They say they were protesting that restaurant, but other business owners near the restaurant and those who work in the area did not want to go on camera for fear of being targeted by protesters. But they say they were so scared of the protesters, at least one business closed early, and staff told us they had to cut their hours because of this. Now, on the other side, protesters.
All right, I'm going to pause again. So again, based on what she's sharing that other business owners are scared of the protesters and are afraid of going on camera for fear of being targeted by the protesters. Whether or not how true that is, I don't know. I don't know what other businesses in the area would have a reason to be afraid of us. We definitely brought a lot of business to the ice cream place that's right by. The other day, William was kind enough to get ice cream for just about every protester out there who wanted some. And as far as other businesses in the area, I truly don't know what businesses would have reason to be afraid of us or have felt threatened by protesters and by us in any way. The other thing that already infuriates me about the way that La Poubelle was introduced, they just say that it's a restaurant that was named in the sexual assault trial involving celebrity Danny Masterson. What they don't mention is the fact that the woman Francois, who I'm forgetting if she's manager or owner. My understanding is that it's this was explained to me yesterday by Laura. My understanding is that she's the manager of the restaurant. She was there yesterday, and she is friends with Danny Masterson and was with him, supporting him in court. Even on the days that her restaurant was being named as the location where drugging was happening. And then after that, she wrote a letter to the judge defending Danny Masterson as a letter leading up to his sentencing. So none of that's mentioned right off the bat. Now, it looks like they're going to include some video, some of the video of that was captured by protesters. So let's see what happens next.
Video with us as they were filming. You see a man hit a phone out of one of the protesters' hand. They say they were trying to tell customers and staff not to support the restaurant when things turned violent. A protester tells me he pepper sprayed a woman after she hit his phone out of his hand. He says one of them also clipped his leg with her car when they were trying to make sure they did not leave the parking lot before police arrived. Now, the protesters say police arrested 3 of them, but LAPD tells me only 1 person was arrested for battery. 2 of the protesters just got out of jail. That's what they say.
Okay. So the LAPD tells her that only 1 person was arrested for battery. So she was not told, or she's not saying that LAPD is telling her that only 1 person was arrested. She's saying that the LAPD says that only 1 person was arrested for battery. Now, I don't know why she wouldn't then include what were other protesters or what were other people who were here tonight arrested for? What were their charges? Because right after that, she goes on to say, we're with 2 people who were released from jail today. I'm going to back it up just a little bit so that I can hear exactly how she words that.
Now, the protesters say police arrested 3 of them, but LAPD tells me only 1 person was arrested for battery. 2 of the protesters just got out of jail. That's what they say. They say they spent the night there. And here's what they have to say as well as a business owner.
I'm going to pause it again for just a sec. She's saying they say they spent the night in jail. It still sounds to me like she doesn't believe the protesters. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and keep going.
We're the most peaceful we can be. We don't vandalize. We don't put our hands on anybody. If anything gets out of control, it's usually the people walking by that get aggressive with us, because it is a public sidewalk and we have the right to film anybody walking on a public sidewalk. And at the end of the day, we're just doing what we do, raising awareness about how bad some of these places are in Hollywood.
I make sure my associates stay in contact with me. If like anything gets out of hand, anything gets crazy, they told me that the police are coming in and checking in, making sure everything's good. I have people here that I worry about and their safety. They're here late and they close late by themselves.
We know that.
Okay, so really quick before, well, the video is almost over. I'll go ahead and let the video finish, and then I'll come back to what I was going to say about that last person who spoke.
Businesses at this parking lot did bring an attendant in today to monitor what's going on. Now, we do have more questions into LAPD, and we are waiting for that restaurant to open up here soon. Of course, we're still waiting for these answers. Reporting live here in Hollywood, I'm Anastasia Olmos, NBC4 News.
Okay, so she does say, she does say, we're waiting for more answers from LAPD, and we're waiting for the restaurant to open. I'm not aware that they did any follow-up about this. It's been over a day now since this report came out. I'm not aware if La Poubelle gave any comment regarding these incidents, or if the LAPD had any additional correspondence. Anyway, if NBCLA does want to publish any updates to this report, I would certainly welcome them. I would be open to seeing them improve their coverage of this story. But what I want to do for a sec, I want to talk about the interview or the portion of the interview that they share with the business owner who's not showing his face. And you know what? If he doesn't want to show his face, that's not something that I'm going to judge. I understand not wanting to be on TV, but I want to listen again, because I'm not even aware that he really indicates that it is the protesters that he's afraid of. Let me go back so that we can hear that part one more time.
These places are in Hollywood.
I make sure my associates stay in contact with me. If like anything gets out of hand, anything gets crazy, they told me that the police are coming in and checking in, making sure everything's good. I have people here that I worry about and their safety. They're here late and they close late by themselves.
Okay.
We know that the business.
So he has people there that he's worried about. He worries about their safety. He wants to make sure if there's anything crazy going on. He doesn't really identify the protesters, or it's really not clear based on that clip what he's talking about. Out of context, it's not clear at all that he's indicating that he's afraid of the protesters. Of course, maybe there were other people that this journalist spoke to, who were not willing to be recorded at all, who did indicate that they were scared of protesters. I don't know. But I do continue to be frustrated by this report. And I was even more frustrated when I went back and rewatched parts of Jessica's stream. So what I'm going to do for a moment, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And then I want to share again, and I'm going to share a different video. So let me do this again. I'll make sure that I'm sharing audio. Okay, so this is Chris Without a Hellcat's stream from yesterday called LA Cam and Danny Are Free. I'm going to go ahead and go full screen. And I won't play the entire thing, but I want to play enough just to indicate that these people got more information than they're letting on. And the information that they omitted is part of what's particularly frustrating to me about the way that this was covered.
Did they have any charges?
They're saying that a felony tear gas, that we have possession of tear gas.
That's a felony.
That's a felony.
Did you have possession of tear gas?
Yes, pepper spray.
Just pepper spray. And police are telling me that they only arrested one person.
It was actually 3 people. It was me, him, and someone that goes on the internet on YouTube by DOA.
DOA, so 3 people. You for possession of tear gas.
3.
What about the others?
Same thing.
They got me for possession of tear gas as well. After they searched me, they said I didn't have any possession of anything except my belongings, and he still brought me to jail, even though I did not have any possession of tear gas.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the third one.
The third one, I believe it's the same reason. He defended us by because they attacked another person coming out actually attacked him as well.
Okay,
But,
and
dropped his phone and everything.
Pushed my phone out of my way, went on the ground, pushed me into a car, and yeah.
2 people out, or some third.
He's still in jail. We're still waiting to see any updates on him.
Okay. And your protest.
I'm going to pause here for a
How
sec.
big is
So in just that portion of the clip that I've shared so far, they did indicate to her that they were charged with possession of tear gas. Nothing about that came up in the report that was published. In the report that was published, she says protesters are saying that 3 protesters were arrested, but the LAPD says that only 1 was arrested for battery. Well, Cam and Danny did not say that they were arrested for battery. So the way that that was worded in the report is totally misleading. I'll keep going.
big is your group? How long have you been out here, and what are you protesting?
Yeah.
And if you're going to talk, we got a mic here.
Yeah, we're not buying.
Just so I understood, and then just grab that. Back pocket, side pocket, whichever works, and then we'll help you
Thank you.
Yeah, but how do you say your name and spell it for me?
My name is Cameron, K-A-M-R-I-N.
Okay, last name?
I've owned IBLN.
I'm going to actually pause it right there because I don't even think they spelled his name correctly in the other video. He's just spelled it out, K-A-M-R-I-N. I can double check the other video, but I'm pretty sure that they spell it with a C when they spell his name in the interview that they show, the portion of the interview that they show in. Yeah. I'm not sharing the other window, but the window that I am sharing, well, at least they asked how to spell his name, but it would have been nice if they actually got it right. Anyway, I'll keep going.
Sure, we'll do what you shot. And you just got out. Right there.
Yep.
What they get you for?
So they arrested me as well for possession of tear gas, even though when they did put me
So at this point, he's already said that. He's now saying it again, but again, didn't make it into the story.
handcuffs. They didn't read me my Miranda rights at all. And they searched me. I did not have any possession of tear gas, nor did I mace anybody. The only thing that happened was I got my phone. The woman took my phone off the tripod, threw it on the ground. I picked it up, went right back to get a clear shot of her face to show who actually did it. And the second time, it was a guy that came out of the restaurant. And I guess he had like a joke I made saying something about, I basically said Motley Crue, and he said Motley Crue, took my phone as well, threw it on the ground, pushed me into the car, and yeah, that was basically what happened.
So you just got out. What do you guys protest?
So we're, like I said, we're not a group. We're all individuals. We all do our individual things, and we also protest Scientology to raise awareness about what goes on in Scientology and why people should not be going to Scientology, how horrible they are. And over here at Lofty Bell, Danny Masterson drugged one of his victims, eventually raping her later, and the owner defended him in court, writing a character statement about how good of a person he is to the judge and why he shouldn't be prosecuted for being raped.
Folks, if we're going to win re-election, I need you.
Sorry about this advertisement, you all.
Whatever you're able.
So you don't want them to be open. You don't want their employees.
No,
or customers
I
there.
fear safety for women going in there, women getting drugged in there. I'm just raising awareness for anybody that goes in there, men and women, because rape is not a joke, and something that happened there should not be open to the public.
Okay. So overall, businesses and residents in the area, they feel that you guys have been aggressive or violent. And, some places have closed, apparently, hit by a car, pushed, a peaceful protest. Do you feel that it is or it isn't? Or what would you say to these residents and businesses?
We're the most peaceful we can be. We don't vandalize. We don't put our hands on anybody. If anything gets out of control, it's usually people walking by that get aggressive with us, because it is a public sidewalk and we have the right to film anybody walking on a public sidewalk. And at the end of the day, we're just doing what we do, raising awareness about how bad some of these places are in Hollywood.
Okay. And then last question would be, what is your plan for the future? Are you doing this daily, or do you see a resolution?
I think our main resolution is to keep people safe at the end of the day, raise awareness about what's going on, how horrible Scientology is, how much they scam people, destroy families,
how bad this restaurant is that letting the owner of this restaurant letting a woman get drugged and raped after, actually verbally attacking victims that have been raped at court pursuit of any gang members.
Wish we had time to prove all this, but I gotta be on air in the next 45 minutes.
Good. Just look it up on Google,
yeah,
guys.
we'll do what we can. Okay. Can you airdrop me video from yesterday?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop there. So I guess to give some credit to the reporter, she does say that she wishes she had time to prove all this, but she has to be on air soon. But I'm still not happy with the way that the report ultimately did come out. I think that it was irresponsible, in my opinion, the way that they presented that the protesters say that 3 were arrested, but the LAPD says that only 1 person was arrested for battery, when the people saying that 3 protesters were arrested did not ever say they were arrested for battery. Neither Cam nor Danny said that they were arrested for battery. They said that they were arrested for possession of tear gas. Cam said it multiple times in that clip that we just watched. That never made it into the report. The way that it was presented in the report by saying protesters say that 3 of them were arrested, but LAPD says that only 1 were arrested for battery. That second half of the sentence, just that use of the word but, protesters say that 3 were arrested, but LAPD, I don't know that I'm quoting it directly, but I hope that you're understanding the gist of what I'm saying, that the news is given the impression that the police are saying one thing and the protesters are saying another thing, and it doesn't seem to me that they're believing the protesters. I hope that I'm making sense, and that my frustration is coming through. And I do want to also just add one thing that Cam said in the video that I think was a very smart answer. I think that Cam did a great job speaking. I think Danny did a great job too. Unfortunately, nothing that Danny said made it into the final report. But one thing, when the woman asked, "Tell me about the group. How long have you been protesting? How many of you are there?" Cam said, "We're not a group. We're individuals." And I appreciate that he said that, because really it's true. I mean, there are a handful of people in the group who have been at this for a while, and they have a decent following on social media. And as the protesting has continued, more and more people have started to come out. But it's not like we're an organized group that holds official meetings or has membership or anything like that. And part of the reason that I do want to say that, for the record, is I was hearing talk the night that these arrests were happening that there may have been attempts to charge folks with conspiracy, or give the impression that we are conspiring together. Really, Jessica was saying this in a live yesterday. A lot of us don't even have each other's phone numbers. Oftentimes, when I head up to LA to protest with others, I don't find out details by texting around. Oftentimes, I'll just join someone's live and see, oh, where are the accounts I follow? Where's Jessica? Where's William? Where's Chris without a Hellcat? Where's Confident Chris? It's not an organized. Anyway, I think that Cam did a good job. That was the main point that I wanted to highlight there. All right. Those are the main thoughts that I wanted to share. What I'll do, I'm going to go ahead and come through and look at some of the chat. I'll do my best to get as many of the comments in here that I can. Jane Gonzalez says, "Hi, Jacob." Hi, Jane. Thank you for being here. Cajun Juju says, Daily Mail UK did a story. I actually have not read this, so thank you for letting me know about that. I will be sure to check that out. I hope that it was better, but, well, I haven't read it yet, so I can't say. Sounds like the audio did work. Thank you for letting me know in there. Oh, Susie Q says, sounds to me too like they're blaming the protesters. Yep. Ellie says, this was a total BS narrative by NBC. I know that you're not alone in feeling that way. Jane Gonzalez says, all one-sided and lies. I definitely feel that there was a lot of one-sidedness in there. I'm glad to hear that you agree. Yeah, as far as the afraid of protesters comment, that was another thing that I was kind of dwelling on the next day when they were saying that business owners are afraid of the protesters. They don't want to appear on camera for fear that protesters might target them. Look, if you're a business owner in the area near La Poubelle and you're afraid of us protesters, I promise you, we're not there to protest you. We're not there. We're not there to hurt or target, or we're not there to hurt anyone, especially not nearby businesses that are completely unrelated to the acts that we are protesting. When we've been there to protest La Poubelle, we've protested there because that is the location where Danny Masterson drugged women who he went on to SA. And the owner, who is fully aware of this, sat in court as testimony was read, which laid that out in great detail, and then wrote a letter to the judge about what a great person he was and why he shouldn't get the sentence that he did ultimately get. Cheshire Cat says, "Thank you for addressing this, Jacob." Of course. Cajun Juju says, "Co-owner." Laura explained it to me yesterday, and I'm blanking again. I know that I think one of the owners is much older person, and Francois. I don't want to misspeak. I wish that I had clarified this before I got on the stream. But owner or manager, it's definitely one of the two that Francois is. Lexi Evans says, they give no details to what the protest is really for. It doesn't address the owner and her actions nor Scientology. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't say the word Scientology one time in the report that did ultimately come out. It was mentioned by Cam in the interview, in the full interview. Gosh. Rally Sports says, have you heard from DOA yet? I have not heard from him. I would like to visit him in jail, if possible, before his court date on Wednesday. I do intend to be at his hearing on Wednesday. Hearing, would that be the right term? Anyway, I got the details about that from Colin the other day. You can see video of that on Laura FM's stream from last night. So I'll be sure to check that out, and make sure that I've got the details right, and make sure that I'm showing up to the right spot at the right time. And I'm also seeing you guys in the chat that have let me know that he was moved to downtown LA at 7 a.m. this morning. So I'll be sure to call that jail before I head over tomorrow morning to make sure that I'm headed to the right place then too. Coming through. Yeah, so Trinity says, who got charged with battery? That's something that I'm not sure about, because as I understand it, Danny, Cam, and DOA have all been charged with possession of tear gas. I don't want to misspeak. The last thing that I want to be doing is spreading misinformation. But there was one other protester, Josiah, who was arrested before any of the other three, and the cops said it has nothing to do with this. Could it have been him? I don't know. Maybe. But I don't want to speak with confidence about things that I'm not confident about. So, yeah, to answer your question, ultimately, I don't know. Layla Simon says her parents started the restaurant in the 1970s, and she is now managing her mother's restaurant. Okay, I knew it was something like that. Thank you, Layla. Ellie says, when he gets out, you will be working your butt off. He is going to need a lot of support, I'm sure. Yeah, we'll be there for him. We look out for each other. So, yes. Well, rest assured, I will be doing what I can to make sure that he's okay. Lexi Evans says, I believe they're trying to cover up DOA, Danny, and Cam's arrest. I bet they will admit the battery is Josiah. Just my opinion. Either way, total BS and not okay. Yeah, that's, like I was saying, I think that that's a possibility. But even still, I can't say for sure. Arya Jelen says, deepest compassion and empathy for you and the disorientation you must be experiencing. Yeah, I think I might have missed a comment earlier where he said, miss my sidekick. I was trying to be positive. No word, just that he was moved. I'm sorry, Arya Jelen. You know what? I think I owe you an email as well. I saw an email from you. I'll follow up with you shortly. Sorry about the late being late getting back to you there. Are you Jelen says mainstream news never tells full truth. the older that I get, the more time that goes by, the more stories that I see which are covered by mainstream media, the more that I do feel that there is truth to that. And I see the chat is coming through for Are You Gelling? Ellie says, Are you gelling? Remember, we are also here to support you. I'm always here to help if you need to talk. Thank you so much, Ellie. And thank you to all of you in the chat who look out for each other. I really think that's really awesome to see. I really appreciate all of you. Cajun Juju's, yeah, says Daily Mail UK did a better story. So yeah, somebody earlier in the chat let me know about that too. Actually, was that you also? Sorry, I can't remember. But thank you for letting me know. I will be sure to check out the Daily Mail UK story about this too. REM Art says they were open when they were doing the interview and after, so that's bogus. Is that right? I actually don't even know La Poubelle's hours off the top of my head. As I understand it, I think they're closed today. Well, I don't even know that for sure either. But let me look up La Poubelle hours. All right, it is showing closed right now. Opens 5:30 p.m. Tuesday. It looks like their hours tend to be from 5:30 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. So I don't know for a fact. What time am I able to check the time that this live stream happened? I don't know that I can. So yeah, I can't say with confidence one way or the other. If the restaurant was opening while the interview was happening. But yeah, I'm not sure. Sorry about that. Dustin Fountain says, "What a waste of airtime. Friday night deserved much better reporting." I fully think so too. When I heard that media was starting to cover, I was thinking, yes, finally, let this get the airtime that it deserves. A lot of us have been out there protesting for a while now, and there's been so many reports about Scientology. I would love to see more journalists given proper coverage to the stories that deserve the coverage, and to see the way that it turned out is really a bummer. Hashtag free DOA, and see, lots of middle fingers to the LAPD there. And I'm sure that you are not alone in feeling that way. Are you gelling? Oh, the stories he will share once out. He will be out soon. Yes, he will. Okay, so here's a comment about something that I still need to learn some more about. I'm assuming that means that is intended to say Masterson. Masterson got beat up pretty bad by inmates and had to be transferred. I did see a thumbnail of a video that Aaron Smith-Levin put out today at the Growing Up in Scientology channel. I haven't watched it yet. I'll watch that after I get off here, because I would like to know more information about that too. It can be tough these days to keep up with everything that's happening between all of the Scientology audits and protests that have been going on in LA, in Denver, in Clearwater, as well as additional news that's happening separate from the protests and audits. It feels like there's more than 24 hours of news to catch up on each day because there's so much happening in so many different places. So I'm gonna follow up about that, because I'd like to learn more about that too. But right now, I don't have a lot of additional info about that. I know that there's a video about it on the Growing Up in Scientology YouTube channel, though, for those who do want more info. Layla Simon says, you guys need to add Rode mics when you're out there for sound quality. Yeah, I have been starting to look into potentially getting some additional equipment to have on me, because yeah, I do think that there's definitely equipment out there that could help us to improve the sound quality that we're getting while we're streaming. Yep, Cheshire Cat, they did misspell Cam's name. Yes, they did. Dustin Fountain says, you need to be the media. I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you. Yeah, here's a thing that I was talking about in a stream the other night is I'm interested in activism. I'm interested in journalism, and sometimes I wonder to myself, is there a way to be both? Can you report news while also having goals and things that you want to see happen in the world and change that you want to be a part of? Would that be considered a conflict of interest? And I even had a bit of a conversation with DOA about this. And DOA, this was off air, DOA mentioned to me, all journalists have bias. All reporters have bias. That's just a part of the game. And I mean, I think that I'm still trying to kind of organize my thoughts here, because this report really did indicate to me the truth of that, because I think that the reporters in this piece really tried to make an effort that they're being objective and that they're just reporting facts. But I do clearly think that there was bias against the protesters. So if I'm going to continue to report or chat, whatever you want to call it, about Scientology, I've done some videos outside of the courthouse after going to those court hearings. And I definitely am biased in that I think that Scientology is guilty of crimes. I want to see them lose their tax exempt status and be criminally charged for the crimes that they have committed. So does that make me biased? Well, yes. And I'm indicating that bias. So in that sense, could you be an activist and a journalist? It's something that I kind of think about a lot. And I've definitely been thinking about it a lot since this report came out too. If you guys have more thoughts about that topic of activism versus journalism, and can you be both? Is there an ethical consideration to take into account? I'm open to hearing other people's thoughts about it. So if you have thoughts that you want to share about that question of activism versus journalism, it's certainly a topic that I would be happy to continue to revisit. Ellie says, Jacob, would it also be possible for you to read the letter that Francois Custer, the La Poubelle owner, wrote to the judge? Some people might not know what she wrote. It was disgusting. You know what? Let me go ahead and find that. I'm looking up Francois Custer letter to Judge Olmedo. I know that it was a handful of the letters that were written were published by Tony Ortega at his Substack, at the Underground Bunker. So I'm going to find, he published a lot of letters. So give me a moment while I find the one that's from Francois. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Share screen. Still getting used to StreamYard, so y'all sorry about the dead air here. All right. Francois Coster, owner La Poubelle. The Honorable Judge Olmedo. I am writing to provide a heartfelt testimony about my esteemed friend Danny. I am a 56-year-old chef and restaurateur, deeply immersed in the culinary world while also dedicating a significant portion of my time to rescuing dogs with disabilities. I have also volunteered around the world working towards the betterment of children and animal welfare issues. My upbringing is rooted in our family-owned restaurant, an integral part of the Los Angeles community for over 5 decades. My spiritual journey has led me from my Catholic upbringing to embrace Buddhism as a guiding force in my life. In the 3 decades of our friendship, I have had the honor of witnessing Danny's extraordinary qualities and the profound impact he has on those around him. As a parent, Danny's devotion and love shine brightly. Despite his own challenges, including severe allergies, he has transformed his living space into a haven brimming with animals, creating a sanctuary for his daughter. Their bond is a beacon of inspiration, evident whether they're camping in Yosemite, nurturing their garden, or engrossed in a game of chess. Danny's unwavering presence and guidance embody the essence of a dedicated father. In times when the absence of a traditional family structure has left me navigating life's milestones alone, Danny's unwavering support has been a source of solace and strength. With open arms, he and his family have embraced me wholeheartedly, extending invitations to their gatherings and holidays. And despite his severe allergies to animals, Danny has gone above and beyond, ensuring that my canine companions are always included. His compassion and kindness transcend personal discomfort. When Bijou, his wife, faced the challenges of kidney failure, Danny's dedication took center stage. His unwavering commitment was a testament to his resilience and determination. He left no stone unturned, overcoming distance and obstacles to ensure her well-being. His grace and spirit during those trying times were awe-inspiring. With the support of Danny's remarkable circle of friends, a miracle happened. A matching kidney was found, ultimately saving Bijou's life. I am aware that Danny was convicted of multiple force by RAPE, but as you contemplate Danny's circumstances, I urge you to reflect upon these facets of his character: his commitment as a parent, a husband, a son, brother, and friend. Your consideration is greatly appreciated. Respectfully, Francois Coster. Well, at least she does acknowledge that she's aware of the convictions at the end. I don't think that all of the letters did that. Gosh, I just can't imagine saying all of these things to a judge, following everything. It's not even like she can say that she didn't know about what was said about her restaurant in court. I mean, I find it I want to find some of the in our family-owned restaurant, an integral part of the Los Angeles community for over 5 decades. So what she doesn't mention here is the name of the restaurant that that she doesn't mention the name of the restaurant because Judge Olmedo herself would have heard La Poubelle several times throughout the trial up to that point. I'm fairly sure. I'm trying to organize my thoughts here, you all. I would imagine that it was not a mystery to Judge Olmedo who Francois Coster is. Well, I don't know how much impact any of these letters even had because he did still get 30 years to life. One other thing, the truth is I haven't read this letter from beginning to end in a couple months, so actually reading it again is a little bit of a reminder to me. But there was one line in here about despite Danny's own challenges, including his allergies. Where does it say that? Yeah, despite his own challenges, when I first read that just now, as I was reading the letter out loud, I was wondering if the challenges had to do with essaying women. But nope, severe allergies. Those are the challenges that he's facing. All right. Well, that's the letter. So if you want to find this and you want to read more of the letters that were published, this was published by Tony Ortega on September 13th, 2023. You can look up more letters from Ethan Suplee and others on behalf of Danny Masterson to Judge Olmedo. If I remember, I will update the description of this video to include this link in there as well. All right, let me stop sharing my screen. And moving on, I'll see some more folks in the chat. Rally Sports says she looked disappointed that she did not get the answers she had hoped for. Maybe. Could be. Jane Gonzalez says they both did an awesome job. Arya Dillon says Cam was awesome. Yeah, I think they did a great job too. I was impressed. Especially considering the fact that they didn't get a great night's sleep the night before. They had slept in a jail cell the night before, not knowing that they were going to be interviewed for a news report shortly after being released. But yeah, considering everything, I really think that they did a great job. Jane Gonzalez, they are trying to say it's a gang. Yeah, so this is part of the reason that I think that it's smart. I think that it's smart the way that Cam answered that question about we're not a group, we're individuals. And to be honest, this is something that I personally could probably work on as well, because I have made comments in streams before where I've talked about, oh, I'm on my way over here to meet up with other members of the Squirrel Squad. I'm going to try to refrain from using that kind of language moving forward. When I've said that in the past, I haven't been meaning to give the impression that that we are an organized group. It really is an informal gathering of individuals. So I hope that that makes sense. Cajun Juju says there are over 1,000 comments on this article, NBCLA's YouTube channel. Yeah, and if you look at the comments in that video, most of the comments are fairly consistent with what I'm saying, I would say too. LA Sports says, I told Chris to tell Cam they were not a group. Yeah, I did see some of the comments in the chat, in Jessica's chat, saying that as well. And I don't even think that Cam would have had a chance to read those while he was talking there. But Cam did a great job. And yeah, exactly. Layla Simon says they are concerned citizens who share similar concerns for the injustices they see in the news. That doesn't make them a group. Well said. Very good. Thank you, Layla. Riley Sports says the cops did the same with Mindy, tried to box her in a false statement about them in a group and the name. Really? I remember the night that that she was involved in a physical altercation. I actually didn't realize that something similar happened in that regard. Thank you for letting me know about that. Ellie says, does anyone else find it odd the reporter reached out to Danny? How did she know he was going to be released? If only one person was arrested, then why didn't she ask Danny about the battery charge? Am I understanding? Yeah, so everything about the battery charge, that's because the journalist, when talking to Danny and Cam, does even say that LAPD tells us only one was arrested. Then in the actual report that came out, excuse me, the reporter says that in the streams that Chris Without a Hellcat and Confident Chris and Jessica put out. You can hear her say in those streams, the LAPD says that only one was arrested. Then they fix that in the report that they released and say only one was charged for battery. But never mind the fact that none of these people you interviewed said that they were charged with battery. I could go on and on, but I think you get the point. And Ellie, Danny's fiance was up all night reaching out to news agencies as well as numerous viewers. Yeah, Leah's a trooper. Leah really is a trooper. Ellie says, I have so many questions about the reporter. She knew exactly what she was going to report before she even did the interview. She didn't even need Danny or Cam. She should have interviewed herself. That's part of what I feel like too. I feel like, why ask all those questions and hear all the information that you heard if you were going to include if you were going to include so little of it? And then absolutely, Jason says, Jacob, Josiah, per Streets, was supposed to go to court the day before, but did not go. Streets said that? Okay. Streets tends to know what he's talking about. I didn't hear him say that, but could be. Thank you for sharing. Ellie, are you sure the reporter didn't get any of the info correct? Layla Simon says, the guy in the white shirt that spoke to Chris without a Hellcat made a comment that I have to agree with. Yelling at the patrons is not an effective way to protest. But as we saw, patrons were taking swings. Yeah, I mean, like we've said in some of the other streams that I've done before, different people, different folks who are out there have different approaches. I tend to not be the kind of person who is going to get up in people's faces and scream at them. That's just not really my personality. That might be more typical behavior to be seen by some of the other protesters. But again, we're not a group. We're all individuals. We're all going to be ourselves. When we decide to go out on the streets, we're going to do what feels right to us, and we don't all have to be the same. We don't all have to act the same way, but in any case, none of this is nothing that any of the protesters did on Friday night was justification for being attacked. Still coming through. Scrap Retro, etc. says Monday is holiday. Court may be closed. Yes, court I do expect to be closed tomorrow. Yeah, today's Sunday. Yeah, so tomorrow's Monday. Court, I do expect to be closed tomorrow. DOA's court date is Wednesday. So yeah, I don't think that there's anything that I was expecting to be on the calendar for court tomorrow. Erica Krasna says also Josiah's was for the first dog incident. That is something that I have heard going around. I've also heard others say that that's not true. So I want to be careful about saying this with confidence because I don't know that for sure. Like somebody else gave another explanation. I can't say with confidence what Josiah, what the situation involving Josiah has to do with. Still coming through. Rally Sports says the issue with the van is the wording on the van. Well, if some of you may have seen this on Lara FM stream last night, but we asked about DOA's van yesterday when we went to the LAPD Wilcox station, and while we were there, they said that the van is being taken for evidence and that there is a police warrant to search it because what we wanted to do was get his consent to be allowed to move his van so that we could go pick it up from the location that it was at. And we were told that because it's being viewed as evidence and there is a search warrant for it, we cannot do that. So that's the issue that I've heard. I don't know about the wording on the van. I know that it says Scientology is a cult on the side of DOA's van, but I don't think that that's the issue. Yeah, and Just Me says it's not the wording. Mandy McGee says, yo, hey, Mandy. Thank you for joining. Glad to see you in here. Absolutely, Jason says, the garbage can. And for those who don't know, La Poubelle means the garbage. The garbage can was closed to the public last night and tonight for private parties. I know there was a private party last night. Is there one tonight as well? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the vibe is tonight. I'll probably check once I get off of this stream to see what some of the other streamers are up to. REM Art says, yeah, the tent was gone and the door was open and Will was yelling into the building on his stream. Mandy McGee says that sus guy that assaulted Laura just chatted with everyone and called Aja it. Wow. Well, so that's going on just now? Okay, I'm going to have to check that out. Erica Kresna says only one person per day for visitation. That is my understanding too. Some of you may have seen Mindy Willens's TikTok that she put out about a potential loophole to that rule, which is that if you are an attorney, a bail bondsperson, is that correct wording, or a member of the clergy, then you can visit at any time. So Mindy found that it's actually not super hard to get ordained with some organizations that are classified as religious organizations, and she viewed that as a potential loophole. I'm going to hold off on trying that because I don't want to be trying to give law enforcement the impression that we're trying to undercut or the thing is I don't want it to come back to bite DOA in the butt, and it probably wouldn't, but I'm gonna hold off on doing that and try to if I do get a chance to visit him, I just want to do it during normal visitation hours, just as a normal member of the public. Dustin Fountain says you need to be the media spokesperson of the group. I strongly feel that you are the best public speaker. Well, thank you very much, Dustin. I do appreciate that. But I mean, like I said, we are all individuals. We're and for what it's worth, Cam I think really did a great job speaking too. And you know, we've all got our own strengths. I think that some folks, William, aka Streets LA, Scientology Audit, he knows a lot about the law. So he is really a great one to have. When I definitely feel more comfortable when he is out there, because I know that he knows what he's talking about. He knows our rights and he knows how to keep us informed, keep us safe. But I know what you mean. But thank you. I appreciate your comment. That is very kind of you. Andy McGee says Jessica is livid. I have no doubt. Are You Jellin says Jacob Osa is now using the app Nextdoor to put the word out about protesters. They put out DOA streets and Aja photos. I have not heard about this. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, please do. I would love to see. That because this is the first I'm hearing about that. Ellie says, shout out to Jay, Denver Scientology Audit. He handled last night like a rock star. That's what I've heard. That's another thing that I've got to check on. Yeah, it can be so hard to keep track of everything that's going on. Layla Simon says, it's not an official group. That's right. Layla Simon says, Jacob, what are the best ways to protest? You know, I don't want to necessarily claim expertise on this topic because different people have different approaches and different approaches can be effective in their own ways. I will tell you that my introductions to protesting have been with Eat Predators and Alexa Nicholas, and she organized protests against Scientology in September and October. And you know, it might take me a minute to pull up, but what I'd like to do, because that is a really good question that you're asking. What I want to do for a sec is see if it doesn't take too long, if I can get to some of the rules that she's put out in the past leading up to her protests. Because for the protests that she has organized, in cases where she's organized protests and invited people to come, in that case it is a little bit more organized, and where Eat Predators is an organized group. And of course, he doesn't always have power over who is going to be there, who's going to come, but she can put out rules that she expects people who want to come to follow. And gosh, where is it? I hope that I can find it. Oh, yes, here. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to share my screen and show, one sec, and show an Instagram post from Eat Predators. Just a moment. All right. So here's what Alexa put out the day before the September 28th protest. She says, protest guidelines for Eat Predators at Scientology tomorrow. Please read and follow the guidelines if you will be physically present. Here we go. Live stream will be up on the channel. Respect private property. Stay on public property and respect private property boundaries. Avoid blocking entrances, driveways, or sidewalks leading to facilities. Peaceful and nonviolent conduct. Remain peaceful and nonviolent at all times. Avoid confrontations, physical altercations, or any aggressive behavior. Know your rights. Protesters have the right to peacefully assemble, free speech, and petition the government or organization, protected by the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. But these rights must be exercised within the bounds of the law and public safety. Respect to law enforcement. We advise participants to cooperate with law enforcement officers and follow their instructions. Do not engage in any confrontations with law enforcement. Stay hydrated, stay safe. Stay hydrated, dress appropriately, and be aware of the surroundings for safety reasons. Stay organized. A designated protest leader will guide participants and maintain order to ensure that participants follow the protest guidelines. And of course, in the case of these Eat Predators protests, Alexa has been the one leading. Disperse peacefully. When the protest concludes, emphasize the importance of dispersing peacefully and avoiding any lingering confrontations. Self-care. Please engage in self-care after a protest. It is a vital and responsible measure to sustain an activist's physical and mental well-being. No hate speech or harassment. Prohibit hate speech, harassment, or personal attacks directed at the organization being protested or anyone else at the protest. So those are the guidelines that Eat Predators has put out in the past, leading up to protests that have been organized by Eat Predators. And I find that in general, it's smart to follow these rules in general. I would argue. So if you're looking for best advice for protesting, this is something that I would definitely urge you all to keep in mind. And this is a post that was made by Match the Source, that's Alexa Nicholas, and Eat Predators on September 27th, 2023. If I remember, I'll throw this in the description as well so that you can be linked to it easily for those who are interested. All right, let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen. That was a good question. Thank you for asking, Layla. Mandy McGee says, you don't have to. NPR is the most unbiased. I would say that generally, well, there may be exceptions. There may be certain instances where I don't always agree with them either. Well, I don't need to get too into that right now, but in general, I think that there's probably some truth to that. All right. Moving on. And Main Man says, yeah, it can be true that one can have a bias personally and still put out a fair and balanced story. Yeah, it's definitely something that I'm still continuing to that whole question of activism versus journalism and how to handle bias and ethics in journalism. It's certainly a topic that I don't feel there's a very clear cut and simple answer to. I definitely think that it's I think it's a loaded topic that there can be a lot of back and forth and debate about, and it's something that I'm totally willing to keep the dialogue open on that. And it's something that if you're in the replay crew too, and you're not watching live, but you're watching this on a replay, and you have thoughts that you want to share about the question of activism versus journalism and how to ethically acknowledge bias, if there is a way to ethically acknowledge bias in a news report, it's definitely something that I'm curious to hear more thoughts about. Yeah, and Invisible Mother Tarot says there has been a pure blending of both realms. I think that there has been some blending for sure. Absolutely, Jason says, Walter Cronkite was to me the last great non-biased journalist, but he did reserve the last 5 minutes of his newscast to give his opinion. So there you go. That's kind of one way to do it, is to start by laying out facts and then give an opinion. Thanks for bringing that up. And Tampa B-Man says, you can be biased and advocate who reports. It's all new media. Do you and people will follow. Thank you, Tampa B-Man. Yeah, good to see you in here. Yeah, people will follow and still report, for sure. Erica Krasna says, they had a private party on Saturday. Yes, that is what I've heard. Lexi Evans says, I believe you can have your own opinion, as long as you have no influence in what is being reported to you, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think I get what you're saying, for sure. Just me. Love Tony Ortega. I tend to be a fan of his journalism as well. I think he does a pretty good job. I met him in court at a Leah Remini v. Scientology hearing a few weeks ago, and yeah, I've generally been impressed with what he's put out. Invisible Mother Tarot says, we have nothing but activist media carrying water to the highest bidder. They do it, so why can't we? Well, when I say to the highest bidder, where I think it really becomes a problem is if you're being paid to write about somebody that you like. If how do I say this? if you're getting kickbacks or some kind of special treatment for writing favorably about somebody or by writing unfavorably about somebody else, then there's this real severe conflict of interest. And then it's not just a question of activism versus journalism, bias. Then we're talking about really then I really see it as a problem. If you're just carrying if I'm assuming what you mean by carrying water to the highest bidder is reporting in favor of whoever is treating you best, which is a problem. REM Art says all humans are biased, so all reports are biased. The best ones work to show all sides, especially the opposite. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Cat Andy says, "Hello, Jacob. I'm homesick, hanging with Julie. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you're sick. I hope that you start feeling better soon." Layla Simon says, "His poor daughter. What an awful legacy for her to deal with." Yes. Yeah, I really feel for her. Ellie says, "Aw, Danny took allergy pills around her dogs. How sweet." Yep, I appreciate the sarcasm there. Yeah, REM Art says, "Even serial killers do good things. Who cares? That's how they get away with things for so long. Disgusting." Yeah, not a fan of that letter. Absolutely. Jason says his daughter won't find out the real story until she finds out for herself in adulthood if she runs from the cult. I really do feel for her. Cat Andy says she was also talking shit in court to Chrissy. Yes, Cam was even referencing that in his in part of the interview that he gave, which did not make it onto air. Gosh, it's disgusting. Victim blamed as well. Esteemed friend, disgusting. Oh my gosh. Mandy says you get so way behind in chat. Oh dear. Yeah. You know what? I can get a lot better at this. I'm still getting the hang of streaming everybody. So I'm doing my best to try to monitor what's going on. But yeah, as Mandy says, speed up, Buttercup. The thing is, some of the comments I do want to thoroughly address, like when somebody asked for me to read the letter, I wanted to give a chance to do that. I could have done that in a separate video, but I figured the main thing that I wanted to come on to do today was give my reaction to the recent report. And once I'm done with that, now I'm really just here to hang and address as many of the comments as I can. So I'm doing my best. It's sometimes easier said than done. You are not a gang or a group. You are the Church of Squirrel Squad who just happened to gather to hear the word of justice. Just kidding. Individual people who share some of the same views. Yep, that's right. Squirrel Sanctuary. You can use Church of the Poison Mind by Culture Club as the hymn. I'm not familiar with that. I'll have to check that out. Mandy McGee says, I have been doing protests for like 20-something years. Wow. I'm impressed. Yeah, I still would like to chat. I responded to your email, Mandy, and I put my phone number in there as well. I didn't check to see. I'm not sure if I've heard back from you yet, but I would like to be in touch soon. Also, I think if I'm not mistaken, I made you a moderator. It doesn't show me on StreamYard who if somebody is a moderator or not, and I don't currently have this stream open on YouTube. But anyway, we'll be in touch later. But good to see you, and thank you for letting me know. I would love to hear more about some of your experiences protesting over the last 20 years. Cat Andy says, are you going to the Eat Predators protest on Thursday? Well, I am. I might be actually a little bit out of the loop because I don't know that I know off the top of my head what the Eat Predators protest on Thursday is. I've got to be honest. I've fallen a little bit behind over the last week or so on Alexa's streams. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know which one that is. If there is one, then yeah, I would like to be there. Minnie McGee says, yes, so smart. Ellie says, seems like a great list of reminders on how to effectively protest. I totally agree. Layla Simon says, I appreciate your thoughts, Jacob. Thank you, Layla. Tampa B Man says, you're reporting the facts now while advocating and giving your opinion. We're here, aren't we? Thank you for being here. Yeah, like I said, I really do the best that I can to report true and accurate information. And if and when I do make mistakes, because I am human, so mistakes can be made, I do what I can to correct the record and set the record straight and apologize for the mistakes that I've made. But also, want to voice my opinion when it's warranted, and I feel that lately it has been warranted quite often. It's the same about paying people on documentaries. There is an ethical thing. Yeah, I definitely agree there. Layla Simon says Tony Ortega was how I learned about Scientology back in the 80s. The 80s? Has he been writing for that long? I had it in my head that he started writing about Scientology in 1995. Wow. Cat Andy says all of these media outlets are supported by advertisers. It's completely toxic. Yeah, I think that there can definitely be a conflict of interest with advertisers. And when you look at who the sponsors are of a media organization, you can start to identify bias sometimes. Andy McGee says people can learn to be as unbiased as possible. I agree. I think that I think that it's definitely something that nobody has done learning how to do ever. I think that it's always something that people can always continue to strive to be better at. Um, but yeah, I think you're right. Invisible Mother Tarot says, I love that you are even asking the question and having the conversation. It is great to speak about where we are. I am a doomer about this subject after reading books about the Tavistock Institute. I'm not familiar with the Tavistock Institute. Yeah, I'm curious to look that up now and know more about that. So thank you for bringing that up. I'll have to check it out. Tina Velcher says, you're very handsome and well-spoken. Thank you, Tina. Mandy McGee says, I'm joking with you. Thanks for clarifying. I knew it's all love. Yeah, I do my best, but it can be tough to keep track of everything that's happening all at the same time. HD2 says, I just watched and cried the story about Sergio Bolensky. He was rejected by Scientology and his Tamil and lived on Hollywood Boulevard with one eye and no hands for 10 years. So, you're referring to the documentary, The Story of Serge, that was posted by the Aftermath Foundation and their board members at the time. It's a very sad story, but yeah, thank you for plugging that and reminding viewers of that. HD2. Grandma Matilda Matters says, I think the protesting is making a difference. The mainstream media will have to address it eventually. Scientology isn't going to survive this. Particularly with all the lawsuits that are here as well, I feel like so many eyes are on Scientology now. It's not something that the media can just continue to ignore forever, as they often regularly have. Tina Velcher says, yes, they are a religion who worships the great squirrel god. Got some comedians in the chat tonight. I love it. Manny McGee says, I did get the email. Had a stressful day. I will get back to you. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you had a stressful day. And yeah, no rush. Believe me, I've had a tough time over these last few days keeping track of everything too. Particularly the more that I've been streaming, the more that I've been forgetting about other things that I have to do in my life. It's I had a group project meetup planned with some of my classmates this morning. And yesterday when I was asking about visitation hours, I that was all that I could think about. I didn't remember until I got home. Oh, that's right. I have plans. I'm not able to just go up to LA every day whenever I want. Layla Simon says, your in-depth commentary is what we are here for. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Layla. Seeing all you in here hyping me up really does give me some motivation to continue with what I'm doing, because you guys, some of you I'm sure saw it on my stream the other night, but Friday night, seeing people who I know be arrested right in front of me, it's one thing to hear about it. It's another thing to see it happen right in front of my eyes. It can be disheartening. It can shake you up. But hearing all of you on here, just giving me the encouragement that I need to keep going is very appreciated. So thank you very much, Layla. Mandy says, yes, I am. Okay, awesome. Oh, yep, Mandy's a mod. I can see it. Thank you, guys. Mandy McGee says, and a soothing, calm voice. Yeah, I do my best. Thank you for the compliment. I've gotten a lot of compliments. People have asked if I use public speaking, and some people have even asked if I have considered going into radio. So I will give a plug. I've mentioned this a few times. One of these days, over the next few days, before this coming Thursday, I want to give maybe just a much shorter stream where I can just talk a little bit about my radio show, because I've referenced it a few times, but I haven't done a video just dedicated to that, or just dedicated to how you can listen. But I do a show called Songs I Want to Play and Stuff I Want to Say on Thursdays at 6 p.m. on the 88.5 HD2 signal. It's also available to stream if you're not in the Los Angeles or Orange County area, you can stream it online at jazz885.org. And that is all information that I will compile to plug for you all before this coming Thursday. Tampa B-Man says, I watch you now more than Aaron. Well, he was out for a little while. Excuse me. I know that he was sick. He's feeling better now, as I understand, which we love to see. But I appreciate you being here. Thank you for being here. Jane Gonzalez says, you're doing great, Jacob. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Jane. Dustin Fountain says, hey, Tampa. Mandy says, NPR is a nonprofit. That's that's right. That was my. Are NPR and PBS related? I think they are, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't know all of the details about NPR. I've tended to generally respect NPR, but I mean, at the same time, here's part of the thing that's going through my head right now is I can recall that there was a time in the last 6 months that NPR put out a story that upset me and that I was disappointed in, but I can't remember what the story was. So I just don't have a lot to comment there. In general, though, I would say that I tend to view NPR as less biased than most corporate media. So I will say that. But thank you for reminding me, Mandy. Alioth says, Hola, Jacobo, ¿cómo estás? Bien, ¿y tú? Jacobo is what my Spanish teachers called me when I took Spanish class in high school. So seeing Jacobo in the chat definitely sends some, gives me a little bit of a walk down memory lane. Dustin Fountain says, I feel the way. He kind of dropped off. I don't know if I'm sure which one you're responding to. Was that about, about, hey, Dustin, don't tell Aaron I said that. He kind of dropped off. Well, like I said, he was sick, but he's been streaming again these last couple of days. Tampa B-Man, it's more horrific than you think they could be. Poor Serge. Yeah, Serge Obolensky's story is really upsetting. But yes, check out the story of Serge if you haven't already. DS, hello, miss me? Nice to see you in here. Is my signal? I'm getting a notification that my signal might be unstable. So if I cut out for a sec, I hope that you all are still able to hear me. It looks like that notification that I got went away. But nice to see you in here, DS. Thank you for being here. Invisible Mother Tarot says the PDF that Paulette Cooper wrote about her experiences with Xenu's buddies is free and available online. It should be a required read for anyone taking Fair Gamers on. Nothing fair, and it's no game. I don't know if I know which one you're talking about. I'm very familiar with Paulette Cooper. I did buy Paulette Cooper's book, The Perils of Paulette is the book that I bought. She wrote the book, The Scandal of Scientology, back in 1969. So she was really one of the first journalists to be paying any attention at all to Scientology. And Scientology gave her a lot of heat. They really went to great lengths to silence her. And Tony Ortega wrote a book about that called The Unbreakable Miss Lovely. And it's a really well-written book that goes back and forth between what's going on in Paulette's life. It takes place in chronological order, but it goes back and forth between what's happening in Paulette's life versus what's happening in Scientology. And they go to great lengths to silence her, to frame her for writing a bomb threat letter that she didn't write, planting multiple people in her life to pose as friends who are really reporting back to the church. But as far as the PDF that you're talking about, I don't know if I know which one that is. So I'll have to look into that. Tampa B-Man, we're not hyping you up. It's just facts. Well, thank you. Cheshire Cat says, Jacob, oh my gosh. Jacob, enjoyed your darling videos you posted 11 years ago of songs you wrote and sang. What a beautiful voice and delightful presence. So, for those who don't know, Cheshire Cat is referencing some old videos that are on my YouTube page from going back to, I think, 2011 was when I made my YouTube channel, and I was 11 years old at the time. And I've thought in recent weeks, as I've started to get more into posting on my YouTube channel again, because I really didn't post a single video for a long time. I was posting in middle school, and then I just started posting again recently. I was thinking, should I make a new channel? Should I delete my old videos? And I thought about it, and then I just thought, you know what? No. I mean, this is YouTube history at this point. YouTube was started in 2005, and I was already posting videos in 2011. I'm not deleting those. They are definitely a walk down memory lane for me to go back and watch now. But if you want to see some videos of me singing when I was a little boy, they can be found on my page. But thank you for checking those out and for shouting them out, Cheshire Cat. Mandy McGee, I'll have to tell you about my 2020 protest experience. I'm curious. I would love to hear the story. Alioth says, I've been a bit out of the loop lately. Why is DOA still in while they let Cam and Danny out? And did they arrest the assaulter? I'm not aware that they arrested the assaulter. Why? I did see the person who hit Cam's phone out of his hand, the one that he called Motley Crue. I did see him get in the back of the police car, but he was not handcuffed. So I don't know where they were going. I don't know if he was being taken to the station for further questioning or if they were just escorting him somewhere else. I would think that if he was being arrested, he would have been handcuffed, and he was not handcuffed. So that tells me that he was, well, I don't want to say with confidence that he wasn't, but it looked to me, because he didn't have handcuffs on, like it was more likely him being escorted than him being arrested. That's my guess. Dustin Fountain says, you need a vacation. Come protest out here. You know, I have never been to Clearwater, Florida. I've been to Florida. I've been to Tampa, and I've been to Orlando. This was all before I was really paying attention to Scientology. But if I find my way out there sometime soon, I'm definitely curious. I would love to hit the streets out there with folks like you and Aaron. That would be a lot of fun. Layla Simon says, stories like both Surge's, Miriam, and these kind, sweet souls are the why activism is needed. Kids can't consent. Yes. Meditating with Love says the info on that Nextdoor OSA tactic is very well presented on the Scientology Money Project stream tonight. A must-see, in my opinion. Thank you so much for letting me know. So Jeffrey Augustine is the activist who reports on the Scientology Money Project. He was actually there a couple of nights ago when we were when protesters were being arrested. He's really great. He's got a website, scientologymoneyproject.com, and he's also got a YouTube channel that's Scientology Money Project. So apparently he presented about the Nextdoor OSA tactic, and yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. Thank you for letting me know. Invisible Mother Tarot says, go you, radio DJing. I did that in college, and they tried to tell me what to play and when to play it. It never went that way for them. #rebel. I love that. Okay, Mandy McGee says PBS and NPR are not related, but both have shared missions. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. DS says, stay in touch with Mindy always. She has a stupid stalker. I don't want nothing to happen to her. You know, I caught a little bit of a stream earlier tonight when there was some talk about that, but I wasn't able to catch all of the details. I will follow up with her about that, though. I've been seeing her frequently the last couple of days, so I will be sure to follow up with her and make sure that she's okay. Having a stalker is never fun. You should read up on this in wikipedia.org, wiki R245, and Operation Freakout. I actually am not able to, you know what I need to do? I need to pull up another window so that I can be viewing these, because I don't know if I'm able to actually click the link from StreamYard. I think I've got to be on YouTube. I am familiar with Operation Freakout. If I'm not mistaken, that is the operation that Scientology, one of the operations that Scientology put out that was targeting Paulette Cooper. R245, I don't know that I'm familiar with, but let me just Google that really quick. R245. Okay. You know what? I'll go ahead and share my screen for a minute so that I can read part of it while I'm looking with you guys. All right. R245 is Scientology slang for murder or suicide by gun. Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard described it as an enormously effective process for exteriorization, but its use is frowned upon by this society at this time. In Scientology doctrine, exteriorization refers to the separation of the thetan, soul, from the body, a phenomenon which Hubbard asserts can be achieved through Scientology auditing. R245 is said to be a process by which exteriorization could be produced by shooting a person in the head with a .45 caliber pistol. Gosh, the literal meaning is acknowledged by the Church of Scientology, although they deny that it is meant seriously. Gosh, I think I do recall hearing something about this referenced at some point, but yeah, I would like to maybe once I get off here read through all of this so that I can look through get a little bit more clarity on the origins when this was said, because gosh, that's I mean, how more clear cut that can you is it to me this is a pretty clear indication that this is not an organization that deserves to have tax exempt status. My gosh. Oh, well, thank you for bringing that to my attention, Mandy. And Operation Freakout, yes, that's another one that I definitely encourage folks to look into as well. That's going to be all about Paulette Cooper and some of the operations that were written up to get her fair gamed. HD2 says, wow, I'm impressed with your Scientology knowledge base. We'll be chiming in more on your live chats. Yeah, thank you, HD2. I know that you've made it into some of them before, so it's good to see you in here again, and I appreciate all of that. Ellie says, DS, does Mindy have any live streams with the stalker? I missed it, and can you tell me which video? Thank you very much. DS says, today she went to LAPD, and the stalker was there, too, so he's on camera. Is the stalker Joey? I don't know. I know that yeah, I'm curious to know who this is because I don't know off the top of my head right now. Invisible Mother Tarot says, I reached out to Paulette as she lives near me down here. She knows about what is happening, but wants nothing to do with them, to be sure. Knows about what is happening? Are you talking about, but wants nothing to do with them? Are you talking, meaning wants nothing to do with the protesters or yeah, I'm not sure if or nothing to do with Scientology. I know she wants nothing to do with Scientology. and Paulette Cooper, she is in her 80s now. She's I think that her very active protesting days might be behind her, which is totally fine. But yeah, wants nothing to do with them. I'm curious to know what you mean by them. Minnie McGee says, and DOA was getting charged with battery for using the pepper spray. I think. Don't quote me, please, though. Yeah, like I don't think that. I don't think any of us know all of the facts for sure. I think all of us are trying to use our best judgment and make sense as best we can. So yeah, possibly. I'm not sure. Minnie McGee says Laura knows more. Yeah, I'll have to follow up with her soon too. I know that she had work today, so she wasn't able to visit during visitation hours, as far as I understand. Okay, DOA says he is the old man with his poor dog. We all said save the dog. So I think is that Joey? To be honest, sometimes there's so many faces and names to keep track of with all of the protesters and all of the characters who make appearances on behalf of Scientology. It can be hard to keep track of people. But thank you, DS. Alioth says Danny definitely used the pepper spray. Didn't know about DOA. I am not aware that DOA used pepper spray at all on Friday. If he did, I didn't see it. Ellie says, did he bring the dog in the police station? Can you copy and paste? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. One sec. To Ellie's question, did he bring the dog in the police station? I don't know the answer to that, but if somebody else knows, I would love to know. Can you copy and paste? I'm like trying to figure this out on the spot, and it doesn't appear that I can on StreamYard, but I could do that I could do that from YouTube, I'm sure. But yeah, people in the chat are saying thanks for the links, Mandy. So yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up for others who want to follow along in the chat. Much appreciated. DS is Paula Cooper from Gary, Indiana. No, Paulette. Paullette, Paulettete. I am not familiar with who Paula Cooper is, but yeah, Paulette Cooper is the one that we were talking about. Mandy McGee, no problem. I've been researching different cults for years. Yeah, cults are definitely a subject that I have just started to take a deeper and deeper dive into lately. Absolutely, Jason says, if you have about a month clear on your calendar, read the entire Scientology rundown series that was done by the Tampa Bay Times. I think I know which series you're talking about. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was called The Truth Rundown. And I think that at the time they were called the St. Petersburg Times. I think they're the Tampa Bay Times now, but if I'm not mistaken, at the time, if I'm thinking about what you're talking about, this was a report from about 2009 called The Truth Rundown, which was a series of stories that included interviews from a handful of former Sea Org members from the international base, people like Mike Rinder and Marty Rathbun, who were talking about the physical abuse that had been occurring at the international base. And I think that those stories played a role in a lot of people who have left since then in getting the wheels turning, and getting the beginning of the end for a handful of people, I could say, because that was one of the first major exposés about violence and allegations of violence in the Church of Scientology. Damian Ward 96, hey Damian, says we should let the NBC reporter Anastasia Olmos know what we think of her bogus reporting. Everybody is welcome to reach out to her. I don't have her contact info handy, but I mean, if you want to reach out and let her know that you don't appreciate the way that the protesters were depicted, or if you, we all have a right to reach out to journalists and voice our opinions. I'm not necessarily looking to rile everybody up to do that. I think that, well, you know what? This is up to individuals. If you wanna reach out to her and let her know what you think of the reporting, that you are within your rights to do that. But nice to see you in here, Damien. HD2 says yes, Joey and his dog. Gotcha. Thank you for letting me know. Yep, Joey. Manny McGee says because Joey showed up but didn't know why or what was happening. Cheshire Cat, the stalker is Joey. Thank you guys for letting me know. Yeah, it can be tough to keep track of everything. I'm doing my best here, but it sounds like some folks in the chat can relate. We're all doing our best to stay on top of everything. Yeah, Joey Eckers. Okay, I had no idea what his last name was, so thank you for letting me know that. Invisible Mother Tarot says, I was being sarcastic, but anything about the subject of Scientology and the current protests. Got it. She knew it was happening, but not her monkey or circus any longer. Yeah, that's kind of what I've figured too. I mean, the only things that I've seen her do related to Scientology recently, she appeared on Leah Remini's Scientology in the Aftermath. She was in season 1 of that show, so that was a few years ago, and she had a good conversation with Leah and Mike. She's done episodes of their podcast, the Fair Game podcast. I've heard her within the last year or so, maybe year or two. I'm not exactly sure, but talk to Tony Ortega on his podcast. But yeah, she's definitely enjoying her retirement, and she knows that there are other folks out there who are she's passed the torch on to, that are really leading the charge to protest Scientology these days. But thank you for clarifying. I appreciate it. Mandy McGee says, maybe you and I should do a live about cults sometimes. Yes, I would absolutely be down for that. Absolutely. Dustin Fountain says, going to bed, long weekend. Keep causing good trouble. Absolutely. Do what you got to do, Dustin. Thank you for tuning in. And I'm sure I will see you in here soon. Have a great night. Tampa B-Man says, good night, Dustin. See you soon. Sickles says, what's up? Hey, Sickles. Hope things are going well on your end. Good to see you in here. It's always nice to see folks that I know in real life tune into the live streams. Mindy McGee says, just don't be hateful about it. Yeah, that was part of what I was trying to get at. If you're going to reach out to the journalist and let her know how you feel about the reporting, just make sure that you're being smart. Don't be inappropriate. Don't say anything that's going to get you in trouble. If you're going to reach out to her, you have the right to do that, but just be smart. That's all I'd say. Tampa B-Man says the reporter may not be in charge of editing. And true, there may be some truth to that. It is definitely possible that Anastasia didn't have final say over what did and did not make it into the report. There is definitely good possibility there. Alioth is asking, why was Joey in the police station? Yeah, guys, I don't want to be claiming any expertise on what was going on today at the police station because I wasn't there and I haven't carefully reviewed the streams. It sounds like if you want to go back and watch Mindy Willins's stream, she was the one streaming it. She was the one who was well, I'll just go ahead and defer to her channel if you want to check her out. Because yeah, I just don't have the answers to all these questions. Jay Bean says, I love jumping from stream to stream. It's better than reality TV. Plus, I work nights, so I get to see all the night shenanigans. I love it. Hope we're keeping you some entertainment at work. That's great. DS says, we all need to do a sleepover. Wouldn't that be fun? Jay Bean says, the questions were skewed from the get-go. I agree. And Tampa B-Man says, DS, we are. It's kind of like that's what's happening right now. All right, well, folks, it's almost 10:30, and I will probably be starting to get ready for bed pretty soon here, but I really appreciate all of you who are in here. I've really enjoyed doing these streams where I start with some topic that I want to cover, and then we get to just have a little chat once I finish getting through the main bulk of the chat bulk of the content that I was looking to get through. Then I can just hang out and go through and hang out with all of you. It's a lot of fun. I feel like we've got a good community that we're building here. Alioth says, where do you think Sebastian is? Guys, I don't know. I haven't seen we haven't seen him at the testing center in a while. Then the testing center was closed. Who knows? He may have been moved to a different post. Not sure. Yeah, it says 12:30 almost here. Yeah, you'll be able to get to sleep before too long. Mandy Mickey says night. Good night, Mandy. Tampa B-Man says, thanks, Jacob. See you soon. I'll see you soon, Tampa B-Man. Damian Ward says, I was just taken aback by the reporter's headline on her resume. In-depth, investigative, unbiased reporter and anchor. She didn't do any of that with this story. Yeah, I wouldn't say that she was unbiased. Alioth says, if it's true for you, then it's... So I think you're making a Scientology reference here, which they tend to say, what's true is what's true for you or something like that. So good reference there. Alioth says, adios, Jacobo. Buenas noches. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I'll go ahead and end the stream now, and I will be back on before too long. I'll see you next time. Have a great night, everybody.